Welcome back to Fast Track News. I'm Kyle Bloyd.
And I'm Laura Hoffman. Indiana legislators began 2009 with a number of proposed bills that may affect Purdue campus police. Despite going through the same training, campus police are currently given less power throughout the state compared to other officers. Brandon Davis has more on how some officials are hoping to equalize police authority.
Indiana House Bill 1023, which 2 weeks ago passed the Veteran Affairs and Public Safety Committee, would essentially give campus police the same power as state and local police. Under the current code, campus police are limited in their jurisdiction to the area only at their specific university.
Use an example, our officer stops on his way to Indy to get something to drink, or pick up just something to drink or eat. He goes into a restaurant. That restaurant is robbed while that officer's there. The officer's in uniform, so you would assume that he's a police officer or she's a police officer. Well, they are, but they don't have police powers. So if they act, they're really acting as a citizen.
Under current law, campus police are restricted in their powers, whereas local and state police have no such restrictions. This bill would simply remove those restrictions, making all police officers equal. One of the main concerns of the police force is how agencies can respond to help each other in times of emergency.
If another agency or community is hit by a tornado, a flood, and they request police assistance, if our officers go outside Tippecanoe County, we essentially have the same power as a citizen of that community. So our officers can't take law enforcement action without getting a declaration signed or a mutual aid agreement or a memo of understanding signed by the sheriff. And if it's a time of an emergency, that's really not the time to try to get such a document signed.
If passed, this bill that would equalize all police officers in the state of Indiana would go into effect starting July 1st.
Both parties on Capitol Hill are working plans to bail out financially struggling homeowners. Fast Track's political commentator Mike Westervelt has a few things lawmakers need to keep in mind.
The growing consensus between both Democrats and Republicans seemed to be that the collapse of the housing market is to blame for the country's economic crisis. The Republican plan calls for more tax cuts, and I'll spare my ranting and raving this week, and up to $300 billion in mortgage subsidies. The Obama administration and Democratic lawmakers want to spend between $50 and $100 billion to prevent home foreclosures. Now, both plans are aimed at attacking the underlying problem. Allowing homeowners to get some leeway on difficult-to-pay mortgages will help them get out of debt faster. Because we know what happened when the Bush administration tried to rescue the economy with a $700 billion financial bailout of institutions about 4 months ago. Remember how great that worked out? What? Oh, yeah, that's right. It didn't. I think it was that $1,400 parchment wastebasket that did it for me personally. You know, the one that former Merrill Lynch CEO John Thain bought for his office? That wastebasket, along with an $87,000 area rug and some other junk, was part of his $1.2 million office redecoration. And yet, he still gleefully accepted bailout money. My hope is that homeowners are wiser with their spending. And on another note, I support President Obama's push to limit bank executives' salaries when their companies get bailout money. But that might make things tough for some higher-ups. I mean, could you imagine throwing your trash into anything other than a $1,400 wastebasket? Have these guys ever heard of Target?
That was Fast Track political commentator Mike Westervelt. We'll catch up with him again next week.
Southern Illinois University Carbondale is planning to offer in-state tuition to potential students residing in Missouri, Kentucky, and Indiana. The proposal is meant to increase enrollment by saving out-of-state students around $10,000 annually. If the SIU Board of Trustees vote favorably on the matter, it will be in effect for the freshmen at the start of the 2009-2010 school year. A similar plan is being considered by the SIU Edwardsville and is expected to be approved in December.
With temperatures bouncing above and below the freezing mark, there's only one thing to blame: jet streams. Fast Track's Brian Wolfe has more.
Hello, I'm Brian Wolfe, and here is your weather notes for the week. You can see we're talking about the jet stream this week. And what is the jet stream? Well, it's a current of very fast-moving air that occurs at the top of the troposphere, which is the most layer of the atmosphere, and it flows from west to east across the United States. Now, the jet stream typically is located between the greatest contrast in temperatures. You can see this picture here. The winds also sometimes vary, but it's very fast winds that go from between 80 and 140 miles per hour. You can see these lines here. These are model runs that indicate the position of the jet stream across the western part of the United States. And you can see some of these areas here. You see where this low pressure is located. This is called a trough. This is where you get a lot of that cold air from Canada that we see during the winter time that comes down. And then you also see areas called ridges. It's the areas south of the jet stream where you see high pressures move in. And for instance, this next week we're going to be seeing a mild warm-up, so we're going to be seeing a ridge of high pressure move across the area. And this map indicates very well what we're talking about. You see this green line is the jet stream. You see all that warm, moist air is to the south, and you see that colder air mass is to the north. So that is your weather notes for this week.
After the break, we'll join our sports commentators with this week's highlights.
Stay with us. After a long day of classes and studying on campus, walking back alone in the dark may not be the safest way to get back to your residence hall or apartment. Luckily, there is the Purdue Student Security Patrol Safe Walk program, which is available for students and faculty that would like to have someone accompany them to their destination. The Student Safe Walk program provides students with a trained escort both to and from campus buildings to ensure that students feel safe on and around campus. If you find yourself in need of assistance, you can call 494-SAFE for a safe walker.